Struggling to stay consistent is what keeps most people stuck. Why? Because motivation fades, but consistency drives results. What you need is a strategy, not just willpower. Learn how to train your mind, build habits, and create routines that make consistency automatic, even when you don't feel like it. In a few moments, I will teach you how to force consistency, why it matters, what holds you back, and how to build habits that make it automatic. 1. You were not born to hesitate. You were not born to remain in place, but to rise, to evolve, and to move forward. Life does not pause for hesitation. Every day spent in stillness is a silent surrender to time, that invisible thief that steals without asking and never gives back. You don't need alarms, apps, or slogans to remind you of the truth you already carry within. You are meant for more. Somewhere in you, there is a pulse that beats not just to survive, but to achieve, to rise higher than you were yesterday. But there is a cunning voice, hesitation, that feeds you illusions. It says tomorrow will feel easier, that you can rest a little longer, that the path can wait. And if you listen too long, tomorrow never comes, and you find yourself haunted by the weight of untouched potential. Those who have changed the world, who have etched their names into the memory of time, shared one simple truth. They started. They began not with certainty, but with courage. They didn't wait for clarity or ideal circumstances. They acted while others debated. They moved forward through doubt, through fear, and through resistance. You might believe you are not yet prepared, that there is something more you need before you can begin. But readiness is a mirage. It keeps you waiting, promising that one day the stars will align. But they rarely do. The stars don't need to align when you have the fire inside. It is movement, not musing, that turns dreams into achievements. It is consistent effort, not occasional intensity, that carves strength into your bones. So why not begin? Not with a grand gesture or flawless execution, but with something small and deliberate. Wake before the noise of the world creeps in. Work while others postpone. Build while others rest on comfort. One disciplined action today leads to another tomorrow, and soon you are walking a path few dare to take. A year from now, you could stand in the skin of the person you now only dream of becoming, and it would all start with the courage to simply begin. There is power in motion. Once you begin, you gather momentum. The habits form. The excuses fade. You realize that the mountain is not meant to intimidate, but to elevate. Every moment you invest in growth becomes a brick in the foundation of your future self, and that version of you is waiting, stronger, sharper, more fulfilled. Not perfect, but forged in the fire of discipline and choice. To look around. Ask yourself if staying where you are is truly safer than stepping forward. Comfort may be warm, but it is also a cage. It wraps you in soft chains and calls it rest. But you were never made for a padded life. You were made to stretch, to sweat, to rise again after the fall. Don't let fear of failing keep you from beginning. The only true failure is never trying. You were born to advance. And if you begin today in the quiet of this very moment, the tide begins to turn. The course shifts. The future reshapes itself around your decision. So stand up, step forward. Don't wait, because the clock is ticking and your future is waiting for you to meet it halfway. 2. When you don't feel like it. There will be mornings when every muscle in your body protests, when your bed seems more welcoming than the day ahead, and your mind whispers 1,000 reasons to delay. There will be evenings when your ambition wavers, when the fire that once blazed within you seems reduced to mere embers. Doubt creeps in quietly then, asking, is any of this really worth it? But it is in these exact moments, when ease seduces and struggle persists, that greatness begins to take form. Not in fanfare, not in triumph, but in quiet perseverance. Because consistency does not thrive on inspiration. It is not born from motivation that comes and goes like the wind. No, consistency is built in defiance of resistance. It grows in the face of exhaustion, fear, and frustration. A man who only moves when he feels like it is no more dependable than chance itself. He is led not by principle but by whim, and a life built on whim crumbles at the first gust of hardship. But the one who acts regardless of feeling, who shows up again and again without waiting for the perfect mood, lays the bricks of a solid foundation, a life led by discipline, not emotion. Consider the farmer. He doesn't plant by inspiration, he plants by season. The soil doesn't care if he feels ready. The crops won't grow if he delays. The season comes and he must act. So must you. The time is now. Whether your soul feels ignited or indifferent, you must act in season. You must create, build, learn, and push. That is how harvests are earned. Picture yourself arriving at your desk or gym or studio while still carrying fatigue from yesterday. The doubts haven't disappeared, the inspiration hasn't arrived, and yet you begin. You review the notes, you send the email, you take the next step, you force your limbs into motion, not because you feel like it, but because it is required. And in that moment, a quiet power returns. You hear the echo within, I control me. That is the essence of true strength. Not domination over others, but mastery over self. And no, discipline isn't reserved for the elite, for the superhuman, or the born resilient. It belongs to anyone who is willing, anyone who decides that their future deserves more loyalty than their feelings. It belongs to the man who refuses to let a sleepy morning rewrite his plan, to the woman who laces her shoes even when her heart isn't in it, to the soul who values legacy over laziness. Do you believe discipline is only for the strong? It is not. It is for the committed, for the ones who understand that feelings are fleeting, but actions echo. You are not a slave to your moods unless you choose to be. Will you let fatigue write your story? Will you hand over the pen to doubt, to apathy, to comfort, or will you take it back and write something worthy? Every small act of showing up, every time you push through instead of giving in, you are chiseling away at the future you dream of. The breakthrough is not in the grand gesture, but in the choice made 100 times in silence. And it is not ease that defines champions, but endurance. Let your legacy be born not from fleeting moments of enthusiasm, but from relentless devotion to what must be done. Because in the end, greatness is not decided by how you felt, it is measured by what you did. 3, set the pace of your life. Life will move you if you do not move it first. That is not a warning, it is a certainty. If you stand still, if you drift without intention, you will be swept into the currents of someone else's plan. You cannot drift to greatness. It is not something you stumble upon or arrive at by accident. Greatness demands a march. It demands deliberate steps, each one placed with care and courage. Without a plan, your energy disperses like dust caught in the wind. Without a schedule, your time becomes prey to every distraction dressed as urgency. To live fully, you must become deliberate. You must seize the reins of your hours and direct them toward your mission. Time, indifferent and relentless, does not pause for the uncertain. It does not yield to confusion. If you wake without clarity, you will spend your day reacting instead of building. But when you rise with direction, when you know what your hands will create and your mind will conquer, you begin to command the hours instead of being commanded by them. In this, you get to command the hours instead of being commanded by them. Your morning sets the tone. Your plan sets the pace. Think of the blacksmith. He does not swing his hammer wildly, hoping for form. He chooses where to strike, and he does it again and again. It is not brute strength that molds the metal, but the fusion of power and precision. His rhythm is born of purpose. So too with your life. You cannot afford to live by impulse, or impulse will live through you. To be consistent, you must first be intentional. Command your minutes, shape your hours, guide your days, because each one is a piece of your legacy. Now picture this. Evening comes, and rather than collapsing into sleep without reflection, you light a candle and open your journal. You do not scribble a list of chores or loose ambitions. Instead, you plan battles to win. You decide what victories tomorrow will hold, not just the urgent, but the essential, not the noise, but the necessary. You prepare, not react, and because you prepare, you win. By midday, while others scramble to catch up with their scattered intentions, you are already moving with momentum. Your feet do not fumble because your eyes are fixed ahead. This is how warriors of purpose live, with clarity, with commitment, with control. The world is loud, and it will pull at your attention with claws of distraction. It will offer you comfort, confusion, and chaos, but none of those lead to mastery. Mastery begins where planning meets action. when your vision is broken down into steps and your steps are carried out with unwavering consistency. So ask yourself, will you be ruled by the world, or will you set the terms of engagement? Will you rise into each day as a soldier of your own vision, or drift as a servant to everyone else's urgency? Life will not wait for you to figure it out. Time will not pause while you find your motivation. That is your task. That is your discipline. And the reward? A life of direction. A legacy that was built, not borrowed. A story that you authored. Begin tonight. Sit in silence. Mark your next move, and when the sun rises again, meet it with a plan clenched in your fist and a fire behind your purpose. Do not let life dictate the terms. Move first. Always move first. 4. Stop listening to doubt. The most dangerous voice you will ever hear does not shout from the crowd or echo from the world outside. It whispers from within. It knows your name, your insecurities, your deepest hesitations. It disguises itself as reason, but it is fear. It tells you that you're not enough, that your efforts are wasted, that you should wait just a little longer before trying again. It scoffs at your ambitions and claps for your delays. But know this, that voice has never built anything. It has never shaped a future, never finished a race, never written a book, or launched a dream. It is a voice of paralysis, not progress, and it must be silenced. But it will not go away on its own. You cannot argue with doubt and expect to win. You cannot reason with fear and expect it to retreat. There is only one answer: action. Doubt thrives in stillness, in the quiet corners where nothing moves. The longer you wait, the louder it grows, feeding on your hesitation, multiplying with every second you hesitate. The cure is motion. Take one task, just one, and finish it. Let your hands prove your worth where your thoughts try to deny it. Then take another task. Stack small victories like stones and build a wall between you and that inner saboteur. Imagine standing at the base of a towering mountain. The peak disappears into clouds, and from where you stand, the climb looks endless, even absurd. The voice within tells you to turn around, that you're not ready, that someone else would do it better. But you take one step, just one, and then another. You look up, and though the peak remains distant, the base is no longer where you are. You are climbing, you are ascending, and something miraculous begins to happen. The higher you go, the quieter doubt becomes, because doubt cannot breathe at high altitudes. It suffocates in the presence of persistence. This is the battle we all fight, not against the world, but against ourselves. Ask yourself honestly, how many dreams have